welcome to welcome to Don't Ask Me Shit, the podcast. This is episode 3. I'm so excited for you all to be here today. This is the podcast where we can stop pretending, we can stop sugarcoating, and we can stop dancing around the real issues. I'm Coach Dorie, a relationship recovery coach, helping people heal from narcissistic and toxic family, friends, and romantic partner relationships. So, welcome today. I know that last week we had some issues with the recording, and I'm hoping that I fixed them this time, but I don't know. I'm just looking around to make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be. I see I'm live on Facebook. I'm trying to make sure I come up live on YouTube, and I thought I was going live on Instagram today, but that didn't work. But that's okay. That's okay. Every week, I'm just going to strive to get better and keep coming to you. So keep coming, keep coming. I've got some good topics that I want to discuss, and yeah, I don't like how that looks, but that's okay. Even if you can't see the video very well, just know and trust that the audio is still working just fine. So hang with me, hang with me. Don't leave me, y'all. Don't leave me, y'all. I'm still here. Okay. All right. Why is this not? Okay, I'm live everywhere. Oh, I do not like this quality. I'm gonna have to fix this. I'm gonna have to fix this, but that's okay. That's okay. So, how you doing today, you fine people? I have a topic today. Let me find my notes. What did I say? What did I say? What did I say? Oh, this is about narcissistic abuse, and this is about people not believing victims of narcissistic abuse. Look, if they say they've been abused, I need y'all to listen, because and I'll explain today what happens when you don't listen to a survivor of narcissistic abuse. Oh my stuff is not running smoothly. We're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix this. But we're gonna. I'm recording it, so hopefully it doesn't come off as choppy in the recording, and I'll go ahead and upload that and get that to you guys. So I did have someone sent me a note. It said, "Dear Coach Dorie, every time I open up about my experience with a narcissistic ex, I feel like I have to explain myself over and over again. People ask me what I did, why I stayed, and whether I was really abused. It makes me feel small and crazy all over again. Am I wrong for not wanting to explain anymore?" Okay, dear friend, I have an answer for you, and the answer is just straight up no. No, you are not wrong for not wanting to explain all over again. You do not have to respond to this because this is harming you. And listeners, I need you to understand this about if you're going to ask this question, please understand this is harming the survivor of narcissistic abuse. This ain't a communication problem. This is not lack of words. This is a boundary issue. And it's created because people are uncomfortable and they don't want to sit in that discomfort. So they have to ask you, well, what happened? And can you explain? And why did this happen? And you need to understand that every time this happens to you and someone asks you to explain, it's re-traumatizing you. So your whole nervous system shuts down. It goes back into fight or flight all over again. Because the same dynamics that you had in that relationship to make you think you were crazy and having to defend yourself and second guess everything. When someone asks you these questions over and over again, it's causing you to go back into that same dynamic. Here's the truth. You don't owe anybody your story, and you have the right to not explain your trauma to anybody else. You're allowed to say, I'm not explaining this anymore. I don't need you to understand. I need you to respect it. This conversation is not safe for me. You're allowed to move yourself away from it. People that really support you, they don't need convincing. So please know you have the right to protect your healing, and you've already explained enough. Hey, you already tried to get through and explain it to yourself. So don't feel like you need to explain this to other people. Now, I'm explaining to you what's happening when people do this to you. And for those that do it, I'm telling you right now, it needs to stop. Stop. Because we're going to deal with your bullshit at the end of this too. Oh, I'm sorry, let me get myself together. We're going to deal with our bullshit at the end of this too. Because we've all probably been guilty of it. And I'm going to tell you why we do what we do. So, but it's not okay. And it's actually very dangerous to the survivor of the narcissistic relationship. Here's the real truth. Narcissistic abuse is meant to be covert. It's sneaky. This is why people don't see it. If you think about serial killers, con artists, and things, if you thought they were weird from the very beginning, would you trust them? Would they have any victims? No, because they're going to creep people out. They're like, I'm not going to. So the abuser learns to be charming. They're supposed to be charming. Or nobody's going to follow them. Nobody's going to believe them. So believe me, it is in secret. It is silent. And when you're asking somebody, why didn't you see the flags? You didn't see the flags either. Because they were lying to you also. So it is covert. It's all psychological. It's meant to not leave any physical bruises. So just because you don't see what happened does not mean that it has not caused any psychological damage to the person that's the victim of this person. So these victims have been gaslit. They've been manipulated. They've been emotionally starved. They've been blamed. They've been slowly disconnected from their own sense of reality. So they've been trained to question themselves. So when you come in, or when someone comes in and questions you as a survivor, you're having to do the same thing you were doing in a relationship. You're questioning yourself all over again. And I'm saying this coming from a place of a survivor. I've been a victim of family narcissistic abuse, of friendship narcissistic abuse, and romantic partner narcissistic abuse. And all the time in these toxic relationships, I spent many, many years because I was trained to question my reality, questioning myself. So when you come to me and you start asking me, are you sure? It sounds like bitterness to me. No, it was abuse, and I know what it did to me psychologically. When this person, the survivors are sitting in the therapist chair, the psychologist chair, the doctor's chair, because there are a lot of physical effects that come from narcissistic abuse also. They know what has happened to them. So you come in to ask, it just re-traumatizes them all over again. So when someone finally has the courage to speak up, And the response is, so if somebody's even coming to you to tell you, because narcissistic abuse period is embarrassing. People have a hard time expressing and explaining the physical abuse. Narcissistic abuse, they really have a hard time because, again, it's invisible. So when someone finally has the courage to come and say something, and they hear things like, "Are you sure it was that bad?" Or "Why didn't you just leave?" Or "Can you give me an example? Um, what did you do to cause the abuse?" This is forcing the survivor to defend themselves. This is not curiosity. You're not curious. You're not trying to figure out what really happened, and it's not helping. And you're actually a part of reenacting the abuse cycle over and over again. So why is this not helpful? Why is this actually harmful to the abuser? One, it sends the abuser's um, nervous system back into fight or flight freeze. It floods their body with cortisol and adrenaline and things that are not helpful to them, and it forces them back into this fight or flight mode. They're either going to get defensive, they're going to run, they're going to fight, or they're going to freeze. They sit in this, and the time that it takes them to re-regulate their nervous system, as they've healed, it's easier than others. But it's a whole process all over again that you are not necessarily, you're not experiencing. So this person has to deal with this fight or flight, this cortisol and this adrenaline and this all over again. The other thing it does is shame spikes. When you're living and operating in shame, depression sinks in, anxiety heightens, and they have to go through this all over again because you're questioning their reality. To you, you're making it sound so simple. And I'm sitting here thinking, man, I look so dumb. Why did I stay? That was stupid. What, and I have to go through that process all over again. I've been dealing with that process. Let me not personalize this. The survivor has been dealing with that process for the duration of the relationship. So you come to question them, their shame spikes, it returns, and they have to go through this all over again. Self-doubt returns. This is how they felt in the entire relationship. Am I crazy? Am I making this up? Is this really happening to me? Is this really that bad? Am I just exaggerating? Could I have done something different? All the things that we ask ourselves in the midst of this, we have to do it all over again. And when all of this whole process starts, then we turn around and it stalls our healing. It stalls the victims or the survivors' healing. If they're still in it, they're still a victim. If they're out of it, they're survivors. It stalls their healing. And sometimes people get stuck and they have to go back to the top and start this process all over again. So this is not helpful. Survivors do not owe you the right. Survivor, let me talk to you for a minute. You do not owe anyone your trauma story at all. At all, period. Nothing else to be said. You know what you lived. You know the effects of it. It has been confirmed to you through your doctors, your therapists, your psychologists, yourself, as you've learned to trust yourself again. You know what you've experienced. You don't have to explain that to anyone. So here are some things, because this is now a boundary issue. And a lot of times we get stuck and we don't know what to say. And I say over and over again, boundaries, you have to practice them. Boundary statements, you have to practice them, especially if you've been a people pleaser your entire life, if you've been caught in this cycle your entire life, if you're constantly having to explain yourself your entire life. When people come to you, it actually catches you off guard. So what can you do and what can you say in order to tell people, hey, back off. Just back off. I don't need you. I don't need this right now. I need you to back off. I'm just checking my connections here, guys. Trust me, I'm recording this, so I will get you if this is not coming up right, I'll get you a cleaner version of this. Yeah, because it doesn't look like it's coming out right. But that's okay. We got this. We got this. We got this. Okay. So if someone is questioning your experience, you can say, I'm not debating my experience with you, and cut it off. Boundary. Done. We're done. You let them know right off. This is not a debate. I'm not going back and forth, and you're protecting yourself from this abuse, this further abuse. You can also say, I don't need you to understand. I need you to respect it. I'm not explaining this again. This isn't a cross-examination. I mean, for real, why are you interrogating me? I'm the victim here. Why are you interrogating me? We're going to talk about that in a minute, too, because I know why they're doing it. I know what I lived. I tell people, you do not have the right to deny me my lived experience. I know what experience I lived. So you can't tell me what happened. Why? This really isn't going live. Huh. Okay. I don't know what happened here, but I'm going to put this up. Huh. This really isn't going live. It's okay. It's okay. I thought I had this all fixed. I thought I had it all fixed. I thought I had it all fixed. Nope. All right, we're gonna cut this off. Maybe it is live now. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I tried something different, and I'm gonna use both cameras. this? Oh my gosh. Okay, let me finish this recording and then I'll post it because it's actually I'm not gonna get too sad. I'm gonna try not to get sad, but it makes me sad. Okay, okay. So those are a list of questions that you can ask someone. Um, those are a list of boundaries that you can give to someone that's asking you. If someone says, "Are you sure it was abuse?" Your answer is yes, I'm sure. Stop talking and let silence do its work. You do not have to explain this to anybody. You know what you experienced. Yes, it was abuse. I know it was abuse. Done. Um, I'm not here to convince you. That's another thing you can say. It doesn't need to make sense to you for it to be real. Okay? If they ask you, why didn't you leave? Leaving isn't simple when you're being psychologically manipulated. You don't even realize what's happening to you until it's done. I promise you. The flashbacks, and when you go back and think about what really happened, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this is happening. I can't believe that this happened to me. And it's actually going to piss you off. So when somebody asks you, are you sure? Why didn't you just leave? You don't think if I could leave, if I had the ability to leave, that I wouldn't have just left. Yes, I would have left. Why? Why do I don't owe you this. Okay, anyway. Um, Someone asks you, why didn't you leave? That question blames the wrong person. Why do we question the person that stayed? Why don't we question the person that abuses? Which one is wrong? Is loving someone enough to try to make something work wrong? Or is abusing someone wrong? I don't know. You tell me. Which one of these things is not like the other? One of these things. Which one is wrong, ma'am, sir? I I think the abuse is wrong. Okay, so you need to be questioning the abuser, not the survivor. Okay. Anyway, another thing, survival looks different on the outside. When you're on the outside looking in, you can't see what I've experienced. Okay, so if they keep pushing and they won't leave it alone and they just won't let it go, this conversation does not feel safe to me, and you need to remove yourself. Yes, remove yourself. You don't have to take the further abuse. Um, if you're looking for further details, I'm not the person to give you that. I'm going to stop this because I'm protecting my healing now. We can change the subject, or I can just step away. I can just leave. Okay? So you decide which one feels comfortable to you. These are just some examples of some boundary statements that you can make to remove yourself from the situation. Uh, if you need some additional help crafting a boundary statement, just let me know. Send me a message, email, text, and we can do that together. Also, you can find my free boundary guide, and all you got to do is find it's in the free resources in the links below. Click my bio, and it'll lead you to the free resources, and you can download that for free. Now that we got that out of the way, it's time to work on our own bullshit. So, for us that question survivors, why are you mad? Why do you care on this level? Why do you keep pushing to find out this information? I got a few I got a few ideas about why people that keep pushing do this, okay? One, it threatens their own worldview. If they believe if they believe the abuser, they must also believe that abuse can be subtle. It's the same thing that we do to rape victims, physical violence, people that are abuse of physical violence. It's the same thing that we do. Um, we question them as if it was something that one they did. But with narcissistic abuse, we don't believe that abuse could be that subtle. It's got to be over the top. It's got to be something big. It's got to be grand. But it can be very, very subtle. Um, we have to believe that charming people can be dangerous. Nobody wants to believe that the person next door that's so nice is dangerous, right? So it challenges our way that we view people and view things. Um, we have to admit that we may have missed the red flags. Now, don't let this be somebody that you like and know, because the idea that this person can do such terrible things to someone and you didn't see it either makes you question your ability to see the red flags. So we challenge the survivor and we ask the questions because we're trying to work this out in our own head. Like, well, why didn't I see it? Well, it wasn't being done to you. Or was it? Because trust me, if the person is sneaky enough to do some things that you don't recognize to a victim, they can do the same thing to you and get away with it. A liar is a liar. A manipulator is a manipulator. And I guarantee you that there are some times and things that you've been manipulated and you don't even realize it. And don't let them like the abuser. Oh my God. He's just so nice. I can't see him doing anything like that. Why? He wouldn't. No, are you sure? Mm-mm. So, disbelief in this case is actually for your own self protection. That's one thing. Um, the second thing that it can do is it forces us to confront our own stuff. Don't let it mirror something in our own life. If I had some friends during the time that I was in my abusive relationships, and a lot of times they would question me. But when you stop and look at their relationship, the manipulation that they were experiencing was very similar. The abuse that they were experiencing were very similar. So for them to accept mine, they would have to stop and accept their own. Well, wait a minute. Is this happening to me? Is this actually my marriage? Is this my parent? Is this my boss? Am I suppressing my own experience? So they're looking for answers from the the survivor to answer their own questions. So this isn't necessarily bad, but what you're doing is you're denying the survivor their experience. So question, but come from a place of curiosity. When you're coming, if it's coming from a place of curiosity, then say that. Just be clear. Just say that. Okay. So another reason why a person would be, why we would be questioning a survivor, we still believe in the perfect victim myth. We've been trained to believe that real victims leave immediately. Why would you stay in that? You must want that, or you would have left. Especially when it's covert. Why? That's easy to get out of. It's easier than getting out of a violent situation because violent situations escalate. Why would you stay? Why would you stay? If it was abuse, real abuse is loud and it's visible. We didn't see the abuse. Nobody saw that. That's all in your head. That abusers are obviously evil. All abusers aren't evil. They're your friends. They're your family members. They're public figures. They're don't especially covert. They're public figures. They're not all evil. They're out here doing good in the world, but they don't have the capacity to do right by the people that are in relationships with them. So victims often stay. Victims often love their abusers. Victims often go back. Victims defend their abusers because they love them. It's their family members, it's their husbands, it's their wives, it's people they're in a relationship with. Their victims aren't always trying to leave, and victims can't always leave. So abuse is not always black and white. It is definitely complex, and because of the complexities of it, it feels suspicious to onlookers. Another reason why people question is because it benefits the system, the same system that they operate in. Here's a hard truth. If believing that what he did to you, if I believe what he did to you was abuse, I have to change because I have some of the same manipulative behaviors. I find this often common amongst people that defend whole genders because you have some of the same beliefs. You tend to want to defend that like gender because that means that you have to change what you believe. I find this particularly, and y'all get mad at me if you want to, I find this particularly common amongst men. And this is just from my own talking to them and having to defend myself. Men are the ones that often ask me, well, what did you do? What did you do to make him do that? Why didn't you leave? You're just bitter. And when I listen to them, it's because their language mirrors the same thing that I was victim to. So you can debate me if you want. I know what I know from my own experience, and I'm not going to explain that to anybody. Okay? All right. So the last reason why someone will be questioning you is because they're protecting the abuser. Like I said, don't let it be someone that they like, know, and trust, because they're going to refuse to see that. They're going to refuse it, and in some cases, they've actually been a part of the abuse. They've been part of the reason that the abuse can even take place. They've been one of their flying monkeys. They've been one. They've seen them do this to other people. They've seen them, and even in some cases, they're protecting themselves from the abuse. But don't let it be a nice person, because don't let it be someone that was charismatic. If they're generous, people that give, you wonder how some of these high-profile people have gotten away with some of the abuse, the horrific abuse because they've been generous, and people have benefited from them. So it's hard for them to see, no, they're so nice. They gave so much money to this cause and that cause, and they helped me with this and they helped me with that, and I just can't see them doing that. That's because it's benefiting you. They were helpful to them. They're socially respected. Your story threatens how your story threatens the image of this person in people's eyes. So this is why they'll question you and make you relive it to give them proof that this person did what they did. So they reject reality. So if you're one of the people that refuse to believe a survivor, ask yourself, what would it actually cost me to believe them? What would it really cost me? Because that'll give you your answer on if you're offering support or if you're avoiding the situation altogether, or if you're interrogating the victim. Is it going to cost me my view of this person? Is it going to cost me financially? Is it going to cost me my relationship with this person? What would it actually cost you to believe the person? What will you gain? Will you gain a friend in this person? Will you gain, is it going to cost you support? What's it going to cost you? What would you gain? What identity do you have to question? You have to question your own identity to believe this person? What relationship would you have to reevaluate? If I believe you, am I going to have to reevaluate my connection with your abuser? Am I going to have to reevaluate my connection with you? Am I going to have to reevaluate my connection with my loved one? What relationship will you have to reevaluate by believing the survivor? What illusion will you have to lose? Have I been naive about toxic relationships? Have I been naive about abusers? Have I been naive about philanthropists? What am I going to have to challenge? And what illusion have I been holding up that I'll have to change to believe this person? So, because this belief is actually fear, and a lot of times it's fear in disguise. So, so if you really want to support someone, what support really, really looks like, it looks like, I believe you. Plain and simple. No questions asked. No further proof needed. No interrogation. no, no changing. I believe you. Just try believing the person. You would do wonders for a survivor. Just believing them. What support looks like. That makes sense. You know you've seen this person. If this person's coming to you, this person is close enough to you that you've seen them. You've seen things. You've probably seen weird things come from this person. You didn't understand why they dropped off the face of this earth. You didn't understand why they were so defensive. You didn't understand why their personalities changed. If you open up your mind, you support the person, and you listen, it'll all make sense. Oh, this makes sense now. Especially as you watch the person in their recovery process, because as they're coming back to them, you're going to see the difference of who they were when they were in these relationships and who they are outside of that relationship as they heal. It makes sense now. That's what support looks like. Um, Support also looks like you don't have to explain anything to me. If there's something that you want me to know, you do that when you're ready. I'm here for you. Period. You don't owe me any explanation. I'm here for you when you're ready. Um, the other thing is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this happened to you. I am so sorry that you dealt with that. I am so sorry that you had to put up with that. I'm sorry. When I was in my marriage, there were things that were going on, and I protected my husband, I protected my home, I protected my marriage, and I was counseled that the things that were happening to not tell anybody, not even my own mother. I couldn't tell my own mother. I was allowed to tell a person here or there, but the whole system was set up to protect my husband and what was going on there. And so when I was finally out of it and able to share the story of what really happened, people began to be just like, oh my gosh, you had to deal with that by yourself. Please know, trust, and understand that these people, these victims, these survivors are dealing with a lot of this by themselves. They're embarrassed. They're ashamed. The shame that comes with this type of abuse. If I tell you some of the stories, if I tell you some of the stories of my last relationship, you'd be like, what the hell? And you would, because I'm sitting here now like, I can't believe I put up with that. What? I did what? Now that I can see it, I did what? So I get you coming from a place of what he did. You, oh my goodness. And it's some of the, I would tell the story. I don't tell the story. But again, just know that these victims and survivors have gone through enough by themselves. They suffered silently for years, months, decades. Please don't be the one to be traumatized and cause them more abuse. Please. Just no cross examinations, no timeline on it. Some trying to, well, if he did this here, why you stay another 10 years? Oh, wait, trust me, I asked myself the same question. I don't need you asking me that. Come on. No playing devil's advocate. No playing devil's advocate. I was with the devil. I don't need you on the devil's side. Just listen. Just love me. Just support me. Okay? So, in closing, if someone tells you they were abused, your instinct is to question. I promise you, I understand it. If your instinct is to question, pause before you say anything and ask yourself who the questioning actually protects. Okay? And just be there for them. All right. So that's all I have to share for today. Again, I apologize for the quality. I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna fix it, y'all, because I'm enjoying doing this so much. And I just appreciate you all coming here and supporting and listening. I hope this helps. If this helps you, or you know someone that needs to hear this, please share it with someone. Please subscribe. Please like. Please come back. Toxic relationships. Again, I'm a survivor of them in my whole life, from friends, from family, from romantic partners, and in my healing journey, I just want to help you find your way out, find your way through. Okay, so if you need any other assistance, please you can find ways to contact me in the links in my bio. You can find free resources. You can find books. You can find workshops, events. Just find the link somewhere down here, down there, and click on it, and you can connect with me. Um, until then, you can always send me if you have any questions, concerns. You can always send me questions. You can always ask Coach Dorie. But if you're not willing to do the work, don't ask me shit. Okay. Until next time, take care. I will see you in the future. All right. Bye. Hello there. How are you feeling? Okay. Right. Okay. Yes. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. Right. Right. Well, it's something on Restream, and I'm finding because I'm trying to use Restream even with my podcast, and I don't know if it's the internet connections or what, but it's just not acting right. So the reason we were able to do it on the first one because we went to Restream, but I kept freezing, and then this time my computer wouldn't connect to your internet properly, and that's why we couldn't get me on there. So right, 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 mhm, right, right, right.